No, 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 no. This is an Atalanta Let's Play, not a rebuild. They are everywhere at the moment, and you know that. I know that. Look, it's going to be great. A team who struggled last season. They finished outside the European spots. They've got an ageing squad, a strong tactical identity. Here's the pitch. Wide centre-back. FC. But it needs to click with the viewers and rebuilds. So hot right now, so hot. So you're trying to tell me that if we just put rebuild in the title of this video, it's going to get 1 million views? Well, if everyone watching this right now leaves a comment saying, wow, this is the best Football Manager rebuild ever, and leaves a like, I guarantee it. Sorry, the line was a bit bad. Can you repeat that? What should people comment? Wow, this is the best Football Manager rebuild ever. I'll tell you what, YouTube algorithm Jack, you really do know your stuff, don't you? Well, look, when you make me a billionaire, you can have half of it, I'll have half of it, and Editing Jack, he doesn't get a penny, he didn't deserve any of it. Yeah, it sounds like a good plan. I guess with that in mind, I should get started on episode number 1. I mean, I've played the first transfer window. Palomino, he's going to be incredible. Left centre-back, sorted for the first season, definitely. Oh, you've not seen the news? What news? I think I'm going to go now. Ta-ta, darling. Bye. Huh. News. What was that all about? Google, help me out. News, Palomino. Oh, he's failed a doping test. But I've already done the transfer window, for f***'s sake. How's it going, folks? And welcome back. I hope you are doing amazing. I hope you are as hyped as I am for this brand new series. We are here at Atalanta in Serie A. I don't think I've ever managed in Italy on the YouTube channel. So this is a step into the unknown, and we're jumping in to a team that are, I suppose, already semi-established within football. Ordinarily, we do bottom to the top challenges, but with FM23 on the horizon, I wanted to do something a little bit different. A chance, I suppose, to enjoy real players who are good now, as opposed to get into the Premier League 10 years into a save game. So here we are at Atalanta in Serie A. Now for this save game, we are playing on an updated transfer database. I will link the one I'm using down below. The one that I'm using was dated from the 20th of July. So it has all the transfers that happened in real life, all the promotions and relegations. It was all up to date as of kind of a few weeks ago. Now, of course, in real life, this is a team who have become a bit of a sweetheart, I think, in the footballing world. They had 3 third-place finishes in a row in Serie A, kind of defying expectations each and every time. But the most recent season in real life didn't quite go to plan. They missed out on European football completely, and after 3 years of making it to the Champions League, maybe a slight recalibration needed. Now, looking at the team, it is a very, very talented squad. A team that, well, as I've said, they've consistently played in the Champions League for a few years. But last season, Zapata was injured, Muriel had an okay year, but ultimately, a team that had been the top goal scorer in Italy for 3 seasons in a row just didn't quite find their stride. And whilst I think some of that was due to injuries, I think it's hard to look past the age of this squad. The fact that there are lots of players in their late 20s, early 30s, maybe getting on a little bit. Realistically, if I want to cash in on them, I've got to sell them as soon as possible. And with this team, we're going to be doing a little bit of a rebuild. You've seen it in the title. I need to get in some young players. I want to try and retain some of the identity of this team, though. Atalanta under Gasparini play a really interesting 3 at-the-back tactic. I want to make wide centre-backs cool. It was a new addition to Football Manager this year, and I don't feel like anyone's using it. So that is definitely in the forefront of my mind. Now, I mentioned Zapata. I mean, when you look at him, he is absolutely phenomenal. But at 30 years old, with only 2 years left on his current contract, it might be time to cash in on him. Arsenal are interested. Newcastle are interested. In fact, in real life, Newcastle are being linked with Zapata. Will it happen? Won't it happen? Probably not. And well, maybe I'm losing my mind a little bit, because I also look at Luis Muriel and I think, you're amazing, you're great, you're wonderful, but you are also a player that I probably should cash in on sooner rather than later. So many of these players with just a couple of years left on their contracts, of the better players in the team, and it's kind of impossible to look beyond it. There are certainly some more experienced players I want to keep in the team. For example, Freuler here is 29 years old. He is one of the big leaders in the dressing room. But players like Ilicic here, I think have just got to be moved on. 33 years old. Again, only 2 years left on his current deal, eating up a significant portion of our wages. And realistically, if we look at the finances, if we want to spend, if we want to bring in some players with the existing wage budget, I've got to move players on, because right now, there just isn't any wiggle room. Now, I'm not giving it too much thought just yet because I want to do some transfers first and foremost, but in terms of tactical ideas that I'm going for, I really, really want to do something with a 3 at the back. I feel like Italy is the home of this. Atalanta as a club have really championed this style of play. And with that in mind, I am looking at playing some kind of variation, be it a 3-4-1-2, be it maybe a 5 at the back with wing backs and kind of the 3 centre backs. I want to have a lot of fluidity in the middle and also really inject some young creativity into this team. Of the players already at the club, Demiral is definitely one of the more exciting options. At 23 years old, the Turkish international is a rock-solid centre-back. He's not the most creative, but he does defending, and that is going to be, I think, rather important because we've got some good defenders, and I think between the likes of Demiral and Toloi, we're really going to be looking to be at our best at the back. So in terms of board expectation for season number 1, expectation is to reach the Europa League. We are definitely going to be striving towards that. There's no European football to distract us, at least this year. Longer term, though, you can see here, board aspirations, they want us to start qualifying for the Champions League, develop the best youth system in the country, and ultimately just play a super entertaining, exciting brand of football. All things that I think should be fairly achievable in the time that we've got. So right now, the media prediction is 7th. The board aspirations are top 6. With that in mind, probably need to get some transfers done. So the plan of attack here, we're going to try and get in some reinvigorated players, try and move on some of the older players who are running down their contracts. And I'm going to join you for the first game of the Serie A season in a little over a month's time, where we're going to be taking on Udinese. So don't go anywhere. Okay, folks, we are back. Welcome to a new look Atalanta side, a team that I've been able to put my own stamp on, and well, a team that, I'll be honest, didn't exactly have the best pre-season. It wasn't amazing. We did beat the Zebras to end it. We went to the Zoo. In fact, the Zoo came to it. It was a home game. We beat them 3-2. I know someone's going to ask, Jack, why did you not put in a real name fix? Why are they called Zebra and not Juventus? I just find it amusing, and I think it opens up the opportunity to put Zebras in the thumbnail in the future. I mean, do I need any other reason besides that? I don't think so. Now, it has been a very, very busy preseason in terms of transfers. It's worth noting, as is the nature of the custom databases that we use to update all the transfers and stuff. The first season is always a little bit weird. It has the transfers that happened in real life, as well as my own transfers here, and some of the transfers that have already happened this summer. Although, fortunately for us, Atalanta haven't been very active in the transfer market, so we don't have to worry about that too much. It is also worth just mentioning there's no World Cup this year. The World Cup's been delayed by a year. We'll be dealing with that in Season 2. Because unfortunately, whilst we can have all the latest transfers and promotions and relegations, there still isn't a way to update the start date to be a year later. Maybe one day we'll have the technology, but not this year. So in terms of departures, Zapata has left the building. Now, with these older players, there was potentially the possibility to keep some of them on, offer them new contracts, but ultimately, at Atalanta, we don't have a bottomless pit of money. We don't have a load of young players that we can possibly cash in on. In fact, in real life, Atalanta have sold a lot of their better young players to various clubs. But in the case of Zapata here, we did cash in on him. We decided to get some money. And in the end, as you can see, we got £40 million. He started in the Premier League rather well, but £40 million was some quite nice money to reinvest. Elsewhere, our other Colombian striker also departed for the Premier League, Muriel, leaving us for Man U FC for £28.5 million. A player who had a very good goal-scoring season a couple of years ago. We don't have the stats of the most recent season that happened in real life, but it wasn't quite as flashy. Ultimately, I could just parrot the same stuff. He had 2 years left on his deal. He's not getting any younger. If we held on to him for much longer, the resale value is only ever going to be less and less and less. So when 28 million came in, I kind of just had to take it. Elsewhere, we had Berat Jamisticity. I didn't sell him because I can't say his name, but it maybe played a factor. 28 years old, good little centre-back, a player who maybe I could have looked to keep on, but ultimately an £11 million offer was some quite good money for someone who I think is fine, but I don't really like centre-backs without pace. 11 acceleration, 13 pace, not super exciting. He was also on a lot of money, just decided to move him on for the sake of squad balance. We have signed quite a few centre-backs. A couple of other players that have left us include Ilicic. He was on a lot of money. PSG wanted him. He's 33 years old. We got 7.5 million. And another man we let go was Viktor Kovalenko. He was on £60,000 playing for us. He was one of our top earners. I'm going to be honest, he's just not very good. So whilst we didn't get the largest sum of money in the world, I did ultimately get him off the wage budget. So not an insignificant amount of money raised by selling on all of these players, close to £100 million, give or take, from the transfers that we did. And in return, we invested, and we invested big. The first of which, the Italian Stallion, Giacomo Raspadori. He's capped for Italy. He's 21 years old. We signed him from Sassuolo for £21.5 million. And I see him as a bit of a long-term project. We've gone from having two 30-year-old strikers to having two very young, exciting ones. The first is Raspadori. The other one, Xerxe, who I think we got for a bargain price. £15.5 million for this man. Not a dissimilar player to Raspadori. Arguably, a slightly more complete, slightly more ready-made player. Definitely a downgrade from what we had previously, but I do feel like longer term, they are going to come good. They are going to really excel to be top quality players, and I think they can already do the job now. So, yeah, getting in some young blood, and these guys weren't the only youngsters we picked up. So I talked about centre-backs, and we've already signed Xerxe, who was a young Frenchman, so I thought, why not get in some more young French players? First one, Oumar Saleh here, 21 years old, a terrific ball-playing centre-back, great in the air, very solid defensively. He is definitely the more creative, less kind of traditional stay-at-home centre-back. And alongside him, another French player of ours, Benoit Badiashile, the left-footed titan himself, an absolute giant of a man, 17 jumping reach. He's going to be a weapon from set pieces. Originally, I signed him to be on the bench, but as I mentioned in the intro, Palomino in real life has got a ban for doping since I started the save game. I don't know what I'm going to do with Palomino. There's some interest in him, so I might just sell him to Zebra. Then we have the possibility of having a Zebra on steroids in a thumbnail, and the thumbnail possibilities just get bigger and better. I don't know, you guys can let me know what you think I should do with the Palomino situation. I think selling him is what we will do ultimately. A few other players we picked up from fellow Italian clubs include Luca Pellegrini here. We didn't really have a left-back in the team. There was no good players who could play on the left-hand side. This man was transfer listed by Juve, and we've picked him up for, well, a measly sum, I feel like. 10.5 million. He was signed a few years ago from Roma for close to 20. I was looking for a player who could possibly play left wing back, but also potentially play as a defensive left winger in the left mid position. You know, this role, it exists. People kind of forget about it. I think Luca could fit that one nicely. Ricardo Calafiore, we have signed from Roma. Now, I say signed, it's a loan. We've not got him permanently. However, it's a 2-year loan where we're only paying £12,000 of his wages, and there's an optional future fee of 14.75 million. At 19 years old, he's got lots and lots of potential to grow. Maybe that 14 million will be worth it, and come 2 years' time when his loan's expiring, we'll look to sign him. But he is injury prone. I didn't really want to sign him right away now in case he doesn't really develop. But when I look at him, it's a low-risk loan with the potential to buy him, and he's a pretty good left-back who, again, can play left-back, but can also play as a defensive left winger if needed. So we've talked about Raspadori, and we've talked about Xerxe, and the fact that Muriel and Zapata left us, but of course Ilicic also left us, so we did need some more attacking players. I went and got a couple more young, exciting strikers. The first here, Joshua Xerxe, we have signed from Bayern Munich for 4.8 million. Originally, they wanted a buyback clause. We negotiated that out of the agreement. He's not the most incredible player, but at £4 million, he's a kind of low-risk investment. He's a bit of a different striking option for us. He's very big in the air. He's got great jumping, some good aerial ability. And well, you know what? The strikers didn't stop there. We got in this man, Seiku Koito, who I had a few years ago in Football Manager, and he was amazing. He was one of my best players, and I've never seen him be good in Football Manager since. But not the largest sum of money paid, £11 million. And what we're getting for our money is a player who is an established goal scorer at 21 years old, has a lot of potential, and I feel like as an impact sub, when we tire out teams, we just need a fast man to come onto the pitch and lump the ball up to. You know, Xerxe can get the flick-ons. This man's going to run onto them. We're going to get loads of goals from our subs. I can just feel it. Now, we did pick up a couple of squad options in the centre-mid area, just a little bit of depth with some of the players moving on. The first we've got here is Salvatore Esposito, 20 years old, loads of potential, signed from Spal for a measly 4.5 million. And another player we picked up, mostly because he was homegrown at club, I don't know, it might be useful down the line. Alberto Grassi has signed for us. He was signed from Parma for 2.8 million. Of course, Parma, in real life, relegated to Serie B. He wanted out, and for 2.8 million, I don't even care about the fact he's injury prone. I think he's just worth the punt, really. You guys can let me know what you think of those transfers down in the comments. I think I've done okay. I think Seiku Koito maybe nostalgia clouded my vision and 11 million was a little bit dear for him. But on the whole, we sold a few players for a significant sum of money, and we've managed to bring in quite a decent quantity of players, but also with a lot of quality and a lot of potential longer term. And I think that shows when we look at the team that we have to start this season. Now, first game of the season against Udinese at home. I'm backing us to win it. Worth noting, we're going to be without Rafael Toloi for this game. He is our captain. Freuler is also out. These players all suspended. This man is our vice-captain, so maybe a lack of leadership on the pitch today. Darun is also out. All three of these players, kind of players who were already at the club, players I wanted to get in the young players to play around, and they're now not available today. So in terms of the team for the first game of the season, we are going to be going with Musso in goal, the Argentine international. He has one cap. I can say he's an international. A good goalkeeper. Not the most amazing, but good enough that I didn't feel like we needed to replace him right away. In the defence, we go with Badia Chile and Soleil, the two young Frenchmen making their debuts either side of Demiral. In the roaming playmaker position, Coop Miners is going to come into the team. I'm really looking for this man to move laterally across the pitch, act as a bit of a defensive rock, but ultimately be the man to stitch our defensive moves into the midfield. To his left, we've got Pellegrini, a right back or right mid, right defensive winger. It's kind of like a right back. We've got Hateboer playing for us, the Dutch player, a very, very unique player. Mental physicals, mentals, not so crazy technicals. They're kind of fine. Defensively, he's more than good enough. I think he's a good fit for our system this year and, well, today in the right back area. In the centre of the midfield, we are going to be going with Mario Pasilich, who had a crazy goal scoring record last year in real life. Hope he might be able to do that for us this year in this save game. And alongside him, we've got Edison, who, if I'm not mistaken, was actually signed for Atalanta this year in real life. One of the few real transfers they've done. A good little player, probably won't start for us all that often once our main players are back in the first team. But at 22 years old, he's not too bad. And of course, all eyes are going to be fixated on the attacking duo today. We've got Guiri and Raspadori playing as a complete forward and an advanced forward. I'm hoping they're going to link up. They're going to have some crazy chemistry and potentially both score. That would be ideal. Worth mentioning that we do get a large bench here in Italy. So basically all the players who are fit are here. Players who play for Atalanta in real life. I've not really acknowledged them today. We'll come to get to know them, I'm sure, in future episodes. Worth noting that we were quite late getting some of our transfer business done. So a lot of these players being thrown in a little at the deep end. Not all of them got the most full of pre-seasons. But that said, Udinese predicted to finish 14th. A team that we should be doing, well, fairly well against, I'd like to think. Of course, there's been a big gamble taken in the departure of some really key attackers. I am desperate that between the likes of Guiri, Raspadori, Koito and Xerxe, that they're going to be able to make up the goals that we've lost. Now, whether or not that's going to be the case, I suppose we're going to get an early indicator today. Just as this game kicks off, first and foremost, I want to say I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you are, help feed the YouTube algorithm. Write about how great or a rebuild this is. Leave a like, all that good stuff. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to be subscribed so you can see how we get on in our adventure here. Tactically, we're being a little bit adventurous. I'm sure we're going to talk a bit more about that next episode. But for today, it's all about sitting here and watching our two new strikers link up in the first 40 seconds. Raspadori to Guiri. I promise you this isn't recorded after the video, but the way in which I've bigged up these two and told you about how great they are, I appreciate it. It looks a little sus, doesn't it, watching them link up like this? I mean, I couldn't have wished for a better start. 37 seconds into my leadership campaign here at the club, the two new signings in the final third link up for a goal. As I was saying before we were rudely interrupted by the goal, I do want to talk more about the tactics and what we're doing here at Atalanta. But as is always the case with the first episode of any series, there's lots to cover, there's lots to get into. Has Pellegrini got injured there? Is he okay? Are you okay? I think he's okay. He'll be fine. There's no injury icon next to his name. I am a little nervous. We don't have that much depth on the left-hand side of the pitch. And well, Pereira, who I know is a very good player for Udinese, we need to be wary of. The Argentine, is he? I think he's from Argentina. It's awkward if he isn't. This is really a test of my Italian knowledge, this save game. He's a good little creative option, as is Lovric, who hits it. And I'll tell you what, Musso has plucked that ball out the air like a cat grabbing a pigeon. So 30 minutes gone in this game. So far, so good. I was about to bring up the stats. Beto has just murdered a man. What happened? Sorry, go back. I missed it. What happened here? I was looking at this. He's just scissor tackled a man on the half. I mean, it's not even on the halfway line. He's in his own half. That is a moment of madness. I mean, it's very kind of Football Manager to gift us that red card. They're down a man, 31 minutes gone. We should be winning by 1 million now. Udinese are down a man. They've dropped their centre attack in mid. This should be straightforward, and yet they've got a corner. I don't like it. I'm glad that Musso's grabbed it like a cat with a... I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it again. Anyone else getting deja vu? Soleil playing as a wide centre-back. As I said in the intro, wide centre-backs don't get enough love this year. Look at that run by Soleil. He gives it to Raspadori, and oh my word, episode 1, match 1, we're seeing the wide centre-backs in action. Be honest, have you used them this year? Let me know in the comments. I think wide centre-backs are mega fun. Some of the runs they do are super, super interesting. I used them at the start of the year, and then I've kind of forgotten about them for 6 months. I've brought them in today, and immediately... They're working a treat. Soleil just walks up the right-hand side. Waltz is all on his lonesome. No one closes him down. And it's 2-0. Okay, so at the break in this game, probably couldn't ask for a better start, really. Guerri's got a goal. Raspadori's got a goal. Muriel, Zapata, never heard of them. Hold on, have they got a player called Lasagna? I'm looking for Lasagna. Lasagna? I definitely saw a player called Lasagna. Where is Lasagna? They have a player called Lasagna. That can't be real. I feel like this is an elaborate prank. Anyway, Pellegrini's... I should probably focus on the game. Pellegrini's on the ball. Coop Miners to Pellegrini. I kind of want to sign the guy just because his name's Lasagna. Badiashile, Pasilich, puts in Hateboer back post. I love that. From the defensive left winger to the defensive right winger. And it's Hateboer, who I talked about his weird polygon. He's very good at jumping. For a right back / right mid / centre back. He can kind of play anywhere on that side. He's popped up at the back post. He's headed it goalwards. And at 3-0 up, would it be wrong to just start making some kind of subs and bringing on some of my favourite players? So I might be getting carried away a little bit here. But since they're down a man, I'm going to move Coop Miners forward. And I'm going to take off Pasilich. I want to bring in Koito. And we're going to move Raspadori to play in behind as a shadow striker. And purely because he's one of my favourites, Koito's coming on. He's going to prove to all the doubters, of which I think I might be one at the moment, that he's good enough. I think the nice thing with the team that we've got is we have got this flexibility. So over the course of this year, I do want to experiment with some slightly different shapes with 3 at the back. This is one of the options I'd quite like to use, maybe against slightly weaker teams. Okay, Koito's on the pitch. I've picked him up. I'm quite excited by him. Now I need him to do so. Why is he complacent? Why have you got a red, happy, smiley face? And less of that. Shout demand more. I'd rather everyone be unhappy than Koito be complacent. Okay, 8 minutes left in this game. I'll be honest, we've changed the tactic. There's been no more highlights since, but maybe a chance here. Coop Miners to Badiashile, playing as that left-sided wide centre-back. Edison to Pellegrini, crosses it in towards the back post. It's going to be cleared away, but only as far as Benoit Badiashile, who, much like Soleil did earlier, is now going to bring the ball forward. Edison, Hateboer. The goal scorer has an effort on goal. It's blocked away. Now, Isaac Success, I assume that is. I don't think there's many footballers called Success. I know there's a guy called Isaac Success. I'm going to take a calculated gamble. It's the same man. He can't get there. He was unsuccessful. And while we are successfully playing the ball forward here. Hateboer, Koito's in the middle. Give it to Koito. He doesn't need to. He's going to give it to Raspadori. It's 4-0 here. I feel like the red card maybe made things a little bit simpler. But as far as I'm concerned... this is a rather ideal first game in charge. The build-up play for this goal was really, really nice. Lots of intricate passing around, plenty of players getting into the box, which is always good to see. A little bit of an unconventional finish, but we will take it. He's got 4 minutes to try and get a hat-trick. Now, I did kind of make that hat-trick comment in jest, but now I'm looking at it, and there's a highlight starting, and I'm starting to believe. Where are you? Where is he? Raspadori, he's playing as the shadow striker, gives it to Koito. Coop Miners now with it. Guerri in the middle. Coop Miners might just go on his own, does just go on his own. Koito gets the assist, and it's 5-0. I'll be honest, with an XG of 2.63, I think the scoreline flattered us a little bit. The red card definitely helped us out. But as far as first games in charge go, lots of green, happy, smiley faces on the pitch, lots of green average ratings on the pitch, and it really couldn't have gone much better. I mean, should we just end the series here? Top of the league, 5-0 win. Yeah, I think we might have peaked a little bit too soon. I didn't really talk about it earlier. In terms of my aim for this season, I would quite like to get into European football. That's the board expectation, but the ambitious person in me wants to try and make it to the Champions League, wants to try and get that top 4 finish. I think what's going to be pivotal to that is how the likes of Raspadori and Guerri do, because whilst I don't think they're quite of the top caliber kind of Champions League strikers just yet. I've kind of signed them in the hope that in the coming years, they're going to grow as the team does. As we slowly work our way up, these are going to be players who remain in the first team. Raspadori did pick up man of the match, a match rating of a 9.0. Give that man a coconut. Give him some praise. We don't do press conferences here. Mr. Assistant, take them from now on. Mr. Tullio Gritty, get used to seeing the press. I'm not a people person. Okay, so a crazy start to our time here at Atalanta today. As I said, we're going to be working on this team a little bit. Tactical tinkering will definitely be happening in the early days. I don't expect it all to go quite as ideally as that. And actually, when we look at our opening games of the season, the fact that we've got Roma, Inter, even the likes of Torino and Fiorentina, who aren't really pushovers in our opening kind of 6 games of the season, I kind of anticipate that when we return, we're not going to be top of the league like we are right now. I always feel like these first episodes of a series are a little bit tricky, but I hope I've been able to grab your attention, pique your interest, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Episodes for this series will be dropping each and every weekday at midday UK time. Subscribe for more. If you're new here, welcome aboard. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back for another adventure. And there will be more intros coming. Maybe not every day, but Editing Jack might make an appearance rather soon. Until next time, take it easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.